Welcome back to Unlimited Reads. You're with Chris, and thanks for joining me today as I'm super excited to be sharing with you my last book haul of 2024. Over the last month or so, I have been buying books and they've been trickling in, so now it's gotten to the point where I have a decent stack to show off to you. So let's kick it off with some comics to begin with. Now, recently I have become interested in the Phantom comics, which are produced by an Australian publishing company called Kangaroo Publications. Now, I am very late to the party on this, where they're currently up to issue number 1980, but the stories are fairly engaging. I've read a couple of these already, but this one is issue number 1980, which you can see here, which the cover art is pretty cool. And I've also got issue number 1979, the seventh icon, which is also nice. And I have 1976, the Highway Robbers. I also have a two-part series here. We have the Bat of Berlin, and we have the Bat of Berlin Part 2. Really like the cover on that one, that's sensational. And we also have the Masks of the Phantom, which I've already read, and as soon as I read it, I bagged and boarded it up to protect them forever. So looking forward to reading those ones. I am very late to the party, so I'm going to have to think whether I want to collect as a lot of back issues or not. I may just go back to the start of this year and start from then, but looking forward to buying more of them. The good thing about these comics is they're very accessible for me. I can buy them from my local newsagent, which is just down the road. Because I work a full-time job, I can go down there at 7 o'clock in the morning and get them if I want. They're released every fortnight, so just like the fact that I don't have to wait for them in the mail, and I can just go down and buy them over the counter. Alright, so let's start with the books I've got here to show you. First one I've got is Rusker by Edward Rutherford, which is his second historical novel. The first one was called Sarum, which I read when I was a teenager. I don't know how I got through that because it was 1,300 pages, but this one is interesting. It's all about Russia and how it came to be, how it all started in the beginning from the steppes and that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a chunker. It's about 1,000 pages, and I've kind of wanted to get into a bit more historical fiction, and I think that is a really good launching pad. I am also interested in Ken Follett as well, which I do need to get around to reading Pillars of the Earth, which is another good historical novel, and I've got it there, just need to find time to get around to it. The next one I've got is a Star Trek novel I found secondhand called The Wounded Sky, which this is the first Star Trek novel I've ever bought. Now, I've wanted to sample Star Trek novels for a little while. The Star Trek universe is very vast. It's almost, if not bigger, than the Star Wars EU. So this one was really cheap. I think it cost me about $2 at a sale a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, pretty good investment in my opinion. Next, we've got a Colleen Hoover title called It Ends With Us. Now, I brought this one because people have been talking about the movie with Blake Lively and have liked it. So I thought I'm either going to read the book first then watch the movie, or watch the movie first and then read the book. Now, I have read Colleen Hoover before. I actually read Verity last year and remember liking that one. So this one hopefully should be good whenever I get around to it. I've also got a book of Doctor Who short stories as well, which looks really good. Now, I want to get into Doctor Who in a big way next year, so this is a really good sampler of different writers in the Whoniverse. And we've got writers like, who have we got here? We've got Alex Scarrow, Holly Black, Neil Gaiman, Derek Landy, who writes the Skullduggery Pleasant series, Patrick Ness and Philip Reeve, and Ian Colfer. So a couple of really big names there, and a perfect sample of different styles for Doctor Who writers, so really looking forward to that one. Next I've got, now this one was interesting as well. This one has been talked about a lot, and this is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which is a nice little addition there. I've heard really good things about it, and yeah, what more can I say there? And I picked up a few really short James Patterson book shots. Now, these are novella-length books, and they take place in existing universes with certain characters and series. So we've got Hunted, first of all, by Andrew Holmes. Okay, this one says, when a former SAS captain, David Shelley, goes looking for an old comrade who has taken to a life on the streets, he finds his friend is dead. An MI5 agent contacts Shelley and arranges a meeting. All the signs point to murder, and the agent believes this is part of something much bigger. Alright, sounds pretty cool. This one I've got Black and Blue with Candace Fox. And this one says, a beautiful young woman is found murdered on a riverbank and Detective Harriet Blue is convinced she's the next victim of the worst serial killer Sydney has seen in decades. But the more Harriet learns, the more she realises this murder is not what she first thought and her own life may be tangled up in the case. Now this is an Australian series written by, Candace Fox has a series set in Australia. And we've also got French Kiss by Richard Delalo, and this says, bonjour detective, now watch your back. French detective Luc Moncrief joined the NYPD for a fresh start, but someone wants to make his first case his last. Welcome to New York. Sounds pretty awesome. Now, this one I picked up, Bernard Cornwell's The Last Kingdom. I brought this because the Quilluminati, made up of Brian from BellTube, John from Talking Story, Dr. Philip Chase, and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews are reading this in their next quarterly book read, and I thought I might as well do a read along and see what the fuss is all about. So, can't wait for that one. Next I have this one here, which is a mainstream fiction book that I've heard really good things about. It's called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. It's meant to be really good, and this says, I'll just read this to you. When Sam catches sight of Sadie at a crowded train station one winter morning, he is catapulted back to the brief time they spent together playing as children. Their unique spark is instantly reignited. What comes next is a story of friendship and rivalry, fame and creativity, betrayal and tragedy, perfect worlds and imperfect ones, and ultimately our need to connect, to be loved and to love. So mainstream fiction, which I don't normally read, but I've heard it's good and it's been recommended, so I thought I might as well give that a crack at some stage. Now I also have I bought a second-hand copy of The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is a trilogy I'm hoping to attempt next year. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and looking forward to getting stuck in. I also bought a second-hand copy of The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, which is a ghost story. It had a movie starring Daniel Radcliffe a few years back as well, so this is the vintage red spine edition, so fairly short. I may squeeze this in for spooky season. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see how time permits. And of course this arrived last week. Oh god, it's heavy. Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill, book 2 in the Bound and the Broken series. I've raved about it, as you know, if you've been following the channel for a little while, and I just can't wait to get my teeth stuck into this early next year. But this is bloody heavy. It's about 900 pages, but the reason it's heavy is because it has really good paper stock, really good thick paper used in it, and it's just a really slick publication, and really, really well done. I love the fact that at the start of this it has the story so far, gives you a bit of a recap before you dive in. Particularly handy if it's been a while between books, so that is really, really cool. Now I also have this copy of The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and this is a really cool cloth-bound cover and cardboard with a nice red ribbon bookmark. Very, very nice edition. And of course I have my edition of Frankenstein, which I did with my unboxing last week, which is sensational. I'm reading it right now as part of the read along with John at Talking Story with his family. I've also found this one as well by Eric Van Lustbader. Now I haven't read him before. I'm looking at reading him because he wrote some early action stuff with the ninja and that sort of thing, and he also writes in the Jason Bourne universe as well. And I've got First Daughter here, which sounds pretty cool, and really good thriller, so I'm looking forward to trying him for the first time. Next I have Candace Fox, Devil's Kitchen, which sounds pretty cool as well. It's a crime thriller, and it says when a city's heroes become its boldest criminals. So I believe that a special elite fire department undergo a heist of some sort. So that should be cool. And now next I've got the Sniper Elite novel, The Sniper and the Wolf by Scott McEwen. It's a series I've been wanting to try for a little while now, and can't wait to get stuck in. I do have the first book in the series, and I've always wanted to read this one or read this series, so it should be really cool. And finally I have got The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. This is remarkable because she started off as a self-published author, and she's been steadily releasing pretty prolifically really good books, and this one is the first time she has been featured in trade paperback. So she is on her way up, and her popularity has been meteoric in recent years, and I love her writing, so I just had to pick this one up. It's only just been released, and looking forward to reading this sooner rather than later. But she is so good. She is the best at writing twists into her plots, and if you haven't picked her up, you really need to try her. So there you go, guys. That is it for my last book haul of 2024. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing. Please don't forget that this Thursday I do have my live stream with MP Woodward. Don't miss that. Hit the notify me tab so that you get pinged when it's on, and I would love to see you all there. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.